Let's talk about emotional literacy. Many of us are emotionally illiterate. What's an emotion? A strong surge of feeling that triggers an impulse to act outwardly. And what's a feeling? A feeling is an instinctual bodily sensation triggered by thought. Right? We have a thought, the feeling comes through a sensation in the body. Depending on the intensity of that feeling, we may have a strong impulse to act outwardly, be it love, be it in anger, be it in joy. But there's an impulse to act outwardly. An impulse should trigger something in your mind. If it's an impulse, it means that we are acting without consciousness, without awareness, without sensibility. Okay? So, many of us are making choices on a daily basis, moment to moment, based on a feeling and based on even stronger an emotion. Many people are acting from emotional illiteracy. What do I mean by that? Many people just act. They have no idea what that is coming through, moving through their body. They're just acting. They have no idea how their emotions are making decisions for them, how their emotions are affecting the choices that they make, how they are slaves to their emotions, right? On a personal note, I sit when an emotion or a feeling comes up, I question it. Okay? What is this pointing to? What is this emotion telling me, or this feeling telling me? Why is it that when I'm feeling insecure, the emotion that comes up is anger, and then I act and behave in this way? I remember when I was experiencing anxiety. Anxiety led to the impulse for me to go into the kitchen at night in the dark. I didn't turn on any lights, as if I'm hiding in my own kitchen, ashamed, and eating chocolate, right? Like I was doing something sinful. The emotion of anxiety, stress, the impulse. I wasn't conscious. I just got up, went in the kitchen, and went for that emotion, triggered the impulse to eat chocolate. That emotion was controlling my choice. When I realized that my emotion was controlling my choice to eat chocolate in the middle of the night in the dark, when I became aware of that, the awareness itself changed my actions, the choices that I made. I asked myself question, is there another possibility, another reaction that's more healthy for me, other than eating chocolate? And then later being ashamed because I'm eating the chocolate. You see, we have a choice. But most of us don't want to get to know our emotions. We don't want to know why we are driven to do the things that we do. And I see this all the time. People around me making choices based on the impulse that comes from an emotion of not being enough. Emotion of fear. That's what that is. Fear that they're not enough. Fear that they're not going to have what they need. Not going to get what they need, that they're losing something that they have, so they act on impulse. Impulse, you've heard of this. Impulsive spending. Eating impulsively. Right? In some ways, it's neurotic. Making choices and decisions based on an emotion that causes us to act without consciousness. Think about your life and how you may be acting from an impulse caused by an emotion that you do not want to face. We have to face our emotions. That's why we are behaving impulsively. Because rather than facing our emotions from a place of consciousness, what is this? What is this that I'm feeling that is driving my action and behavior? And when I behave that way, it causes me problems. Face it. Face the underlying, deep-seated issue. And then you will have better control over how you behave, the choices that you make, the actions that you take, instead of creating suffering based on your impulsive behaviors. We must have or act from a place of emotional literacy. Study yourself. When an emotion, feeling comes up, watch what you do, how you behave. Do you have an impulse to eat? Do you have an impulse to shop, to spend when you don't have the money? Do you buy things you don't need? Animals. You get pets you can't afford. I know people like this, right? They're not feeling enough, or they're feeling afraid. They want to make themselves feel better instead of sitting and dealing with the emotion. They get a substitute. A puppy. I'll feel better, but I can't afford the puppy. I have no money to feed the puppy or myself. Driven by emotional illiteracy. Not understanding how their emotions impact the choices and the decisions that they make. We all do it. But we have to move forward. Educate ourselves about our emotions. Gain emotional literacy. There are people who can't communicate in relationships in an intimate way. They can't tell you how they feel, what they need, what they want, what they desire. They are operating from a place of emotional illiteracy. I used to be that way until someone pointed it out in me. And then I was like, doing, a light bulb went on. And I had the urge to do better and be better, to become emotionally literate. Learning about what emotions drive me, Anger, anger. I'm learning about how anger triggers an impulse to behave in an aggressive way. I don't mean physically aggressive, but I mean withdrawing my love. That comes from not understanding how anger works for me. But I'm aware of it. That's how I'm able to communicate it with you. Because I am working on emotional literacy. It's important. Because our emotions drive us, not only in our intimate relationships, in our friendship relationships, in our work environment, in the way we show up and behave in the world. Our president is emotionally illiterate. His emotional impulses drive him. He acts impulsively in what he says and how he behaves because he's emotionally illiterate. And he's not even aware of it. Well, maybe he is. It doesn't appear that he's aware that he's emotionally illiterate. Now, this video, what I'm saying, this content may trigger some of you emotionally. But instead of getting your panties in a wad and impulsively wanting to attack me in some way, psychically, in a comment, whatever, sit. It's an opportunity for you to begin your practice, for you to move towards emotional literacy. We must become emotionally literate. You want to make better choices and decisions in your life. If you want to behave like a mature adult, you must become emotionally literate. Our emotions drive our decisions, our choices, the choices that we make. In every aspect of our lives, who we vote for, what we eat, when we eat it, what we buy, when we buy it, how much we buy, how we behave, which partners we choose, right? Think about it. Think about it. We must become emotionally literate. Thank you for your time. Who loves you? I sure enough love you. Namaste. Namaste.